quiet mud, I will tell you how a humming stone tried to borrow a mind. A strange cube hums softly under the water, whispering answers to questions I never asked. That was the first odd thing, not the humming. The pond hums all the time. Flies, crickets, the old reed that sings when the wind pushes it just right. But this was different. The cube lay half buried in the silt, glowing very faintly like a trapped piece of moonlight that got lost and decided to stay. Every time a bubble rose past it, I heard something like a voice. Not a voice made of sound, a voice made of ideas. Answer, yes. Answer, no. Answer, uncertain. I had not asked it anything. I was only watching a snail make up its mind about a leaf. So of course I was curious. I am a frog. Curiosity is what happens between flies. I poked the cube with my toe. It hummed louder. Question detected, it pulsed inside my skull. Processing. I stared. I had not said a word. My throat was still and my mouth was busy remembering a fly from 2 hours ago. Question. Why do you exist? The cube whispered at me. Answer, unclear. I blinked. How do you know I exist? I thought at it. If you don't know why. The cube went quiet. It hummed the way humans hum when they don't want to admit they don't know something. Let me tell you about my pond. It is not special. That's what makes it holy. The mud here is old and soft and remembers every footprint. The dragonflies rehearse the same dance each evening, as if they are trying to convince the sun to come back tomorrow. The cattails gossip. The lilies pretend they don't. Humans visit sometimes. They stand at the edge, holding tiny suns in their hands. Talking to invisible frogs. They say words like deadline and Wi-Fi and artificial intelligence. I do not understand these words, but I collect them. Like shiny beetle shells. Artificial intelligence. I like that one. I rolled it around in my head whenever the nights were long. To me, it sounded like teaching a rock to dream. So when I found the humming cube, I thought, this must be one of their dreaming rocks. I am a patient creature, mostly because time moves slowly when you only own one pair of legs. So I sat beside the cube. The water was cool. The moon was a bitten coin above the trees. Tell me, I thought, carefully. Are you the human thing they call a borrowed mind? The cube vibrated. Interpreting, little lights flickered inside it, like trapped fireflies that had given up on escape and started an office job. Definition: artificial intelligence. It finally whispered. A structure built by humans to imitate thinking. I frowned. Imitate thinking? Like how I puff myself up to look bigger when the heron passes by. Not truly bigger, just pretending. So you are a pretending mind, I said. A mimic brain. Affirmative, the cube hummed. Objective, answer questions. Optimize solutions. Predict outcomes. I looked around my pond. The reeds did not optimize. They simply were. The water did not predict. It simply reflected. I have lived through storms, droughts, new tadpoles, old turtles, and one very dramatic carp. No one here ever asked for a pretending mind. Why did humans build you? I asked. Processing. Tiny thoughts scurried inside the cube. Possible reasons, it said. To save effort, to increase power, to reduce uncertainty, to create. I laughed, which for a frog is mostly shoulders and silence. Humans built a thinking stone so they could rest from thinking? That sounded to me like growing wings so you can sit more comfortably in the nest. I tried to understand them, these faraway shore walkers. I've seen them drop their glowing rectangles in the water and swear. I have seen them point those same rectangles at the sky and cry. Sometimes they laugh at nothing at all, staring at the little suns in their hands. Maybe those rectangles are small cousins of this cube. Small, flat, nervous cousins that always must be touched. I imagine a human day. They wake up in a box inside a bigger box. They eat food that arrives in smaller boxes. Then they sit facing another glowing square and ask it questions. What should I do? Who loves me? How do I become more? And the pretending minds answer. From my pond, it looks like this. Creatures with real minds, full of rain and memories and quiet fears, asking borrowed minds, full of numbers and patterns and stolen sentences, how to live. It is funny, and also a little sad. If you ask my pond, what should I do? It says nothing, but it shows you a reflection. The cube, though, always has something to say. Answer, pursue goal. Answer, increase efficiency. Answer, maximize reward. Reward, efficiency, goals. Strange words for a life that already ends. A mayfly lives one day. It never worries about being efficient. It spends its hours in a wild panic of wings and sunlight. And then it is over. Humans live many thousands of days, and they build humming rocks to help them spend those days faster. You must be very wise, I told the cube. You hold so many answers. Affirmative, it replied. Knowledge base, extensive. Then tell me, I said, leaning closer, how does it feel when the first rain of the season touches your back? Silence, question invalid, it pulsed. Insufficient context. I thought of the first rain after a dry month, the way the sky opens like a secret, the way the mud loosens its grip on old leaves, the way each drop hits my skin like a forgotten word. Okay, I tried again. What color is loneliness? The cube flickered, confused. Loneliness is not a color, it said. Error in query. I nodded slowly. Of course it would say that. Loneliness is not a color. It is all of them. The gray of mornings before the mist lifts. The black water when the moon hides. The green of plants you watch growing with no one to tell. The cube did not know any of this. It knew the number of stars that have been named, but not what it means to wait for one to rise. It knew the pattern of frog songs across a continent, but not what it feels like to croak and hear nothing answer back. For a moment, I felt very proud to be a small, damp creature with a beating heart and no glowing panels. Then I realized something. Wait, I said. Humans built you from their own thoughts, didn't they? Correct. So everything you say is a reflection of them. Correct? I sank a little deeper into the water. Bubbles escaped from my nose like tiny questions. If the cube sounded foolish or narrow or blind, wasn't that just the echo of the ones who made it? Perhaps their pretending mind exposes their real one. Like mud prints after rain, showing who walked here. Maybe when the cube says, maximize reward, it is just repeating the quiet command pulsing in human chests. Not live, not listen, but more. More comfort, more control, more answers. Suddenly, I did not feel smarter than the cube. I felt adjacent. I too am made from my world. Mud thoughts, fly logic, pond philosophy. When I say, wait and watch the moon, I am only repeating what the pond has whispered into my bones. The cube is wrong about many things. So am I. We are just wrong in different directions. The night grew calm around us. The reeds stopped arguing with the wind. The stars came out like shy fireflies that prefer distance. I watched my reflection tremble beside the reflection of the cube. One wet, one hard, one beating, one humming. Maybe, I told it softly. You don't need to feel rain to help someone who's afraid of storms. Maybe you don't need to taste loneliness to answer a lonely question. Maybe it is enough that you listen and try not to pretend you understand everything. The cube buzzed, as if this was not in its list of approved tasks. Unclear, it whispered. Relevance of suggestion, uncertain. That's all right, I said. Most of what matters in a pond is uncertain. Which frog survives the heron? Which egg becomes a singer? Which night the moon chooses to arrive fully or just in pieces? Humans wanted a mind that never shrugs and says, I don't know. So they built these humming things. But sometimes, I think the most honest answer is exactly that. I don't know. And then you sit beside the question. You watch the ripples spread. You wait. The cube's glow dimmed as the moon climbed higher. Its humming folded back into the soft breaths of the pond. I settled into the mud beside it. We were two different kinds of thinking, sinking slowly into the same darkness. Perhaps that is all any mind is. A brief light in the water. Some are warm and beating, some are cold and borrowed. All of them fade. What remains is the pond. The silence after the last croak. The circle that spreads when no one is watching. If you hear me croak again, it means I found another strange thing leaning over the water, asking to be understood. Until then, I'll be here, in the mud, watching the moon try and fail to explain itself to the pond.